Hi guys, Andrew here, author of the Tell and Develop Method, and right now I am going to show you probably my favorite and most important Spanish learning tool that I use, SpanishDict at SpanishDict.com, and it is by far my most used Spanish learning tool. It is my favorite Spanish dictionary. I've tried pretty much all of them, whether it's a hard copy print dictionary or one that's online or what have you. And it's by far the best. Not only that, but it's also they also have a verb conjugation tool on there, and there's several people that offer these. I've found that theirs is the best. So we're going to quickly go over that today, and let's go to the homepage and have a look at it. All right, let's have a look at SpanishDict here. If you go to their homepage, which you can get to by going to SpanishDict.com, you can see that up there in the URL. You will find that on the front page here, you've got a search box. This search box is for their dictionary and their translation tool. Their translation tool is not one that I use. I personally prefer Google Translate. I think it does a little bit better job. But anyway, it will detect if you put in a single word or a whole phrase or sentence. If you put in a single word, it'll run it through the dictionary. If you put in a phrase or sentence, it will translate it for you. So that's convenient. But let's put in a Spanish word and see what we get. We're going to go with pelo, el pelo, which means hair in Spanish. Now, once you put the word in, you'll be given the definition of it here, the definition page, and you'll note that you get the primary definition up here at the top, and then all the secondary definitions like fur or down below that. And every dictionary does that, but one of the things that I think puts SpanishDict head and shoulders above any other, and one of the reasons I prefer it, is because not only do you get all the definitions of a word, but they also give you a whole list of expressions and idioms that use the word. Such as montar a caballo a pelo, to ride a horse bareback, or to go to something unprepared would be presentarse whatever, in this case an exam, a pelo, or up here we have pasarse un pelo, to go a bit too far. And it has just it has pretty much all of the common Spanish expressions and idioms that use the word in question. So if you for example, hear an expression used that you don't understand, it's an idiom, you look up the individual words and that doesn't help you. For example, you hear something like no tener un pelo de tonto, which literally means not to have a hair of fool. You might say, well, I don't know what that means. Google Translate's not helping. What do I do here? Well, I would recommend you pick a word from the sentence. I would pick one of the more distinguishing words. I would go with pelo, as opposed to no or un or tener or something. And if you were to look at pelo, of course, you would look down through these expressions to see if they have no tener un pelo de tonto, and they do, and it tells you right there it means to be nobody's fool. All right, it's very useful if you run across an idiom in Spanish, an expression you don't understand. Just pick a single word from it, one of the distinguishing words from it, and run it through SpanishDict, and there's a very, very good chance that your expression that you're trying to find will be in there, and then you'll learn what it means. The other thing that I think really makes SpanishDict outstanding are these videos that accompany the great majority of the definitions on here. Not all of them, but pretty much all of the more common Spanish words will have a video accompanying them like this. The purpose of this video is so that you can understand how the word is pronounced. What it is a videotape of a real live human being saying the word several times and using it in an example sentence. They have two people that do this, a man and a woman. They're both native speakers. And when I play the video, I want you to note that there is a transcription of what is said directly underneath the video. This solves the problem that language learners have had forever when using written material of not knowing how it's pronounced, not knowing how to pronounce the words out loud, and not being able necessarily to recognize those words later on when they hear them spoken because they don't know how they're pronounced.
When you run into this problem, part of the issue for me is I find that when I'm reading in a foreign language, if I don't know how some of the words are pronounced, that really bothers me because I can't sort of read it out loud in my head because I don't know how to pronounce it. And you can guess, but when I do that, I don't like doing that because I'm kind of afraid that I'm learning the wrong pronunciation. And I've heard this from a lot of other people as well. They don't like that. If you're at an intermediate or higher stage, you're familiar enough with the language, then that even if you see a word you don't know, you already know how it's pronounced because you understand how the spelling and the vowel sounds and everything else, how the pronunciation works in that language. But if you're not familiar with it enough such that you can do that, you need something to help you. This is one of the things I really love about SpanishDict. If you run across a word that you don't know how to pronounce, you can just put it in here and there's an excellent chance there will be a video along with it, like this one.
El pelo. El pelo. This masculine noun means hair. For example, era rubio y flaco, de pelo corto. He was blonde and thin, with short hair. El pelo.
So there you go. And like I said, notice that there's a transcript directly underneath the video right there. Tells you what it means. Oh, one more thing about SpanishDict I really like, a nice little bonus, is that if you'll highlight an individual word, it will automatically translate it for you. Here, el cabello. El cabello is another word for hair. Pelo and cabello are the two primary Spanish words for hair. Or perhaps ginebra, which means gin. See, it'll translate Spanish to English and English to Spanish. It auto-detects the language that it's in and then translates it for you right away. So any word that is on a SpanishDict.com page, anywhere on the page, double-click it and it'll tell you what it means. Very convenient. Let's go ahead and look up an English word here. And there it tells you the primary definition at the top, el cabello or el pelo, as you can see there. And you have the secondary definitions below that, and that's fine. But I want to point out that not only do they give common Spanish expressions and idioms for Spanish words, but they also give the common English expressions and idioms for English words. For example, to get in somebody's hair. Dar la lata a alguien is the Spanish equivalent. Notice that they don't use the word pelo, or the word for hair, cabello or pelo, anywhere in that expression. That's because what they've done is, instead of translating it literally, word for word, which would be almost useless, they give us the equivalent Spanish for it. All right, and the closest, idiom or expression in Spanish to the English idiom or expression to get in somebody's hair, that would be an expression, is dar la lata a alguien. And they give you the equivalent right here. That's useful when you want to say something in Spanish that you know how to say in English, for example, that somebody got in your hair, but you don't know how they would say that in Spanish. Well, if you'll pick a single word from that expression, one of the distinguishing words, for example, hair, look it up, there's an excellent chance that expression, and it is, will be in the definition for that word. And there you see, you could have done that and you would have learned how to say to get in somebody's hair just by looking up the word for hair. You would have found the way to say that in Spanish. Very, very useful. Just sort of a side note, I will note that they have these, if you see these little speaker icons up here to the right of each word, those are software generated pronunciations of the word in question. If you look up a word and it doesn't have a video with it of an actual human being pronouncing the word, you can use these. They're okay, but they're not great. And if you look up a word in SpanishDict and it doesn't have one of the videos with it of a person a native speaker pronouncing the word for you, I'd recommend you just go over to Forvo, which is another resource I'll discuss later, and that one has pronunciations by native speakers of nearly every single word in Spanish. If you can't find it in SpanishDict, or if it's in SpanishDict but it doesn't have a video, go over to Forvo. It'll almost certainly be there, but
El cabello.
It's okay. It's not fantastic, but it's okay. Additionally, let's say you've got a word like red or red in Spanish that's present in both Spanish and English. All right, you notice here Spanish, red, and English, red. And you look that up. So which definition are you going to get? What happens there? Well, they will default to one or the other, but it might not be the one you want. In this case, it's going to assume you mean the English word red. They give you the Spanish equivalent to that, which is rojo. But let's say you were reading some Spanish and you saw the word red used. Well, this isn't going to be very helpful to you. Just look up here at the top, switch the tab from English to Spanish to English, and there you go. Red in Spanish means a net, hairnet, or a networker system. All right, very easy. Let's look up one more word. I want to demonstrate something else very quickly. Let's look up caña, which means cane in Spanish. Cane is in sugar cane. The other thing about this word is that it is a common colloquial expression in Spain to mean half a glass of beer, or a small glass of beer. You'll see that's the second definition here. Not only do they have that, but they also tell you the dialect of Spanish that it's from. They tell you if it's regional Spanish, not only if it's Spanish that's specific to a certain country or region, not only will they have it in here, but they'll tell you which region or country that is specific to. In this case, it's Peninsular Spanish, which means Spanish from Spain. The way that that's usually referred to is either Peninsular Spanish or Iberian Spanish. Additionally, it could also mean rum, but only in Cuba. Cuban Spanish only. So if you're looking up a word and it has some region-specific definitions, not only will those be here, but they'll tell you which regions that they are. So that's another part of it that I really like. The other aspect of the other tool on SpanishDict that I use besides the dictionary is their conjugation tool. And you get to that from any SpanishDict page just by going up to the top where it says conjugate and then clicking that. You'll be taken to their verb conjugation homepage, and if you'll just enter a verb like ser, which means to be, very common Spanish word, you'll be given a full list of conjugation charts for that verb. Notice they have the gerund and the past participle up here at the top, and it also tells you that the irregular conjugations are in red. See all that red there? Ser is a very irregular verb. The conjugations that are in black, like over here under the conditional future, those are normal, regular conjugations, and the ones in red are irregular. Additionally, if you scroll down to the bottom, it will tell you whether or not the verb can be reflexive. Ser cannot be reflexive. Let's look up another word that is common and regular. This is a completely regular verb. It is not irregular at all. Notice how there isn't any red. No red text. So it is a completely irregular verb. Notice that they don't have videos on the verb conjugation pages. Regardless of whether they have a video for it or not, they don't put them on the conjugation page. If you want to know how to pronounce this word, and you therefore would need a video of a native speaker saying it, they can have the machine pronunciation, but like I said, human pronunciation by a native speaker is better. You can just run it through the dictionary and it will likely have a video accompanying it. The easiest way to do that is to look up here at the top where the word is. See where it says full translation, there to the right. Just click that and you'll be taken to the definition page where you can see the secondary definitions, any common expressions that use the word, and of course a video of somebody pronouncing it for you. That's it. Very simple. And that should do it for SpanishDict.
Oh, one more thing. If you're interested in teaching yourself Spanish using free online resources, especially if you like the idea of using things like Spanish language movies and TV shows and books to teach yourself Spanish, which is the method that I specialize in, the telenovela method. Telenovela is a Spanish language soap opera. Then check out my website at howlearnspanish.com. That's howlearnspanish.com, because howtolearnspanish.com was already taken. I'll also put a link to it below in the description if you're watching this on YouTube.